Hello everyone and welcome to Life Transformation UK. My name is Ben and today I want to talk to you about one of the most important lessons that I have learned throughout the course of my life and during my own personal self-improvement journey, and that is the lesson of learning how to love yourself for who you are. At the end of the day, the person that we are going to be spending the rest of our lives with is ourselves, which kind of sounds sad when you kind of take that literally. Obviously don't take that 100% literally. What I'm trying to say is that you always have to live with yourself. So if you are going to live with yourself, why not learn how to love yourself as well? Because it just generally makes life a lot better that way. But going back a few years ago, I had huge problems with self-loathing and self-hate. It's not something that I talk about a lot, but I had a lot of self-harm issues as well, and all of that was kind of bottled up in this hatred of who I was and what I did and my very existence a lot of the time. And it was only once I stopped reading as many self-help books, started attending therapy on a regular basis and really started to work on myself that I started to learn the importance of loving yourself, and I also started to learn how to do it as well. So the first thing that I'm always going to say when it comes to self-love is just to remind you that all love begins at home. It all begins with yourself. If you can't find it in your heart to love yourself, then it's going to be very, very unlikely that you're going to find the love that you need from other people. And again, I know this because I went out trying to find love from everywhere, and when that failed, I just kind of settled for attention, and that had its own set of issues which are not massively relevant to this video, but that I'll probably discuss in a future one. And all it was me trying to fill a hole in my life that I did not realise I could fill myself just by loving who I am. At the end of the day, you are who you are, and as I said at the beginning of this video, you have to live with yourself for your entire life. So this is a skill that you are definitely going to want to cultivate. Believe me, it is not as simple as me saying, oh, you just need to love yourself, because if it was, the entire world would be 100% happy and perfect all of the time. It's not that simple, because sometimes we do make mistakes, and sometimes we make it very, very, very hard to love ourselves. I know this especially because I've made huge mistakes in my past, and thinking back on them now, I still find it difficult initially to find that place of love and compassion for that past self. But if you do have that self-loathing, that self-hatred, what that's doing is that's starting to burn you and eat you up inside, and that's not a good place for you to be, because eventually you are just going to run out of fuel for that self-hatred fire, and when that happens, it just goes outwards and it starts to blow out onto other people. For me, that went out onto my family, and it almost very nearly ruined a good relationship that I had with them, all because I couldn't come to grips with who I was and start to learn how to love myself. Now, luckily, I had a very supportive and understanding family who loved me unconditionally, but I never really felt that love until I started to really cultivate it within myself, because it gave me something to look for. And once I was able to look for the type of love that I was giving myself from my family, it was already there. I just hadn't recognised it before. And that's what you'll find as well. When you really start to work on your own self-love, you'll find that all that love in your life that you thought you were missing has been there all along. It's just likely that you've not been seeing it because you've been trapped in this bubble of self-loathing for so long, and it makes it difficult to see any happiness and positivity and love in the world. One of the things that really stops us from getting to that place of self-love and acceptance is the idea in our modern society that everyone has to be perfect. You look on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, and you see people living perfect lives, and we don't think critically about those things that we see initially. We see a successful actor or actress. They've got all the money in the world, they've got the big house, they've got the cars, they've got the amazing husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it is. They have everything that they want. And then you'll read in the news the next day that actually it's not all that perfect. They have a drug habit, or they've killed themselves, or something like that. So this whole idea of perfectionism does not work overall, because very often what we view as somebody else's perfect life is not the case. And like it or not, we are never going to be perfect. We only can ever strive to be the best that we can be. And when you are working towards it, you don't have to be the best that you can be right now. You just have to be working towards it. And sometimes it's okay to fall behind. Sometimes it's okay to take a break, because again, we're not perfect. We're working towards improving ourselves. And that's what the self-improvement space is all about. That's what this channel is all about, just growing over time. And that is a perfectly okay place for you to be in. At the end of the day, you have to find what makes you the most happy in life and stick with that. Never compromise your own happiness for the acceptance of others, at least where it's ethically and morally applicable. But if it does fall into that category of it being ethical and moral and something that really brings you joy and happiness and bliss in your life, stick with it. Don't ever compromise, and don't change who you are just to suit other people. Now, I will say again that it's very easy for me to sit behind a camera and say this. It's much more difficult to do it in practice. I know, because it took me several years to get myself into that kind of place, and there was a lot of failure and frustration at first. So give yourself time, find out what works for you, find out the daily practices that are going to be bringing more internal love into your life, and just go for it and see what happens. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have done, make sure to leave a like and a comment letting me know what it is that you're going to be doing to transform your life today. And while you're down there, why not subscribe to the channel as well? But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video very soon.